Good morning, ddon.
What's up, guys? This is Dan from ddon.life, and today I have an interview for you with my friend Peter Allen Gersten. Peter lives in Sedona. Now, Peter lives in an apartment about 2 blocks from a giant rock structure called Bell Rock. It's a 600-foot rock structure, and when you come into Sedona, it's one of the first things you see, this big bell-shaped red rock. And now Peter takes people to the top of Bell Rock. That's what he's doing. He's taken like 1,500 people to the top of Bell Rock. Some people come stay with him from couch surfers, and some people he just finds on the trail. They had no idea they were going to go to the top because they thought they never could get to the top. But Peter knows the way. If you do know the way, you will get to the top and you'll have this amazing experience. Now, Peter has some pretty wild ideas, and they might seem a little crazy to some people, but the more you listen to him, the more you realize that this guy is a master of his own destiny. He's 74 years old, he's killing it, and his name is Peter Allen Gersten. Ultimately, what I was really wondering is at what point did you realize that you're in the simulation?
Wow, shifting gears here. When my son was growing up, I guess 12, 13, I don't remember now. I'd have to figure out what years. Mm-hmm. I was separated from his mom, so he would come over every other weekend. I was living in Peekskill. And that's when Nintendo first came out. And we would play Nintendo games all the time, like into the night, you know. It was Mario and Zelda, but there were other kind of games, including auto racing games. And we used to play that. He would be one, and it was a controller with just 2 buttons, you know what I mean? And we would play that, and it would be fun, and then you reboot, no problem. Years later, I had this girlfriend in Washington. Once again, I remember the years, 80s, middle 80s. Mm-hmm. I had this girlfriend in Washington, and I would go down every 4th weekend to see her. And going down to Washington from New York, I think it's 90, there's 5 lanes in each direction, right? And I had a sports car then. And I would drive down, and then there was one time on my left, all of a sudden another sports car is zipping down there. Next thing I know, on my right, another sports car. I said, okay, let's go. And I made up this game that if any of these sports cars, caused another driver to, push on his brakes, then they lose a point, you know what I mean? And things like that. And basically, it was the same thing. I said, whoa, what's going on? It's like that, no controller. You're now in the car. Now, I don't know what happens if you crash or reboot, you would think you would die, but maybe not. Maybe if you die, you wake up somewhere else. You have no memory that you crashed. Who knows? But it was exactly that, except it was the ultimate role-playing game. And this is before they had even 3D or virtual reality that tries now to put you in there, or the movie Avatar, which you see, that's what it was about. Download into the Avatar. So that's when I said, okay. But I didn't realize until just a few years ago, probably since 70, that I was the one that programmed this. I knew it was a simulation that I was in, okay? It was obvious when you really take a look at it and compare it to what we are creating, then whatever's before us, another intelligence, is ahead of us creating this. And we are that intelligence. But I thought maybe you just push a button, the computer picks your life and things like that. And that's still possible. We see, because everything's metaphors and comparisons and analogies, we see that when we download a program, they allow you to do it yourself, personally, or you can just allow the default to do it, all right? So this is the same thing. I guess some people, maybe you need more point, I don't know how it works. Some people pick their own, create their own, design their own, program their own lives. I think after now that I do it. Maybe some other people just push that default button and let the computer do it, you know? And maybe they just say what issues they want, and the computer picks how the experiences will be, maybe even the people they'll do it with. But no, this is just the exact same life I would pick. In other words, this is it right here. Look around, right? This is me. This is what? From UFO lawyer to vortex jumper. It seems like, okay, one to the other. And now I have 74 years to look back and see how everything, I wouldn't program that, yeah, of course I would have, because now that led me to this, that led me to this. If I wasn't separated, if she didn't leave me, I wouldn't have gone on the vision quest, wouldn't be an error, it's all makes sense. So that's when, it's been like evolving until this last part. But now it's taken a new level because you see, I don't believe in free will. I think you have free will to program exactly what you want. You got all the free will and the want, right?
Yeah.
And once you go into the program, boop, then you're here. It would be chaos if everybody could then change what their program was and do whatever they want. People need free will, it seems. Like, that's the biggest argument. We have free will, we have choice. I don't care. I don't need a choice. All I have to do is wake up in the morning and see what I program for myself. You know what I mean? And just trust and have faith. It's the best thing. So, what point was I trying to make just now? So if you do have any flexibility, I think that's to raise your frequency. You probably come in at a certain frequency, and then you got to learn about yourself. And as you learn about yourself in different situations, you raise that frequency. You challenge yourself a little more, and you get to know about yourself. Now I'm into this whole thing that all 20-year-olds should travel for at least 10 years before they decide what they want to do with their life. And it should be free for all 20-year-olds to travel. There should be a fund. You want to travel? It's all free travel. Learn as much as you can. If the three of us, did I give you this analogy this one time?
No.
If the three of us woke up tomorrow morning in this room, doors on each of the walls, ceiling and floor, we would look at each other, whoa, today's my birthday, what the fuck are we doing in this room? What do you remember last? No, I just remember going to sleep. So we would sit around maybe, but we would go through the doors. We would see what the fuck we're in, right? And I don't split up. So if that happens tomorrow morning, we don't split up. We go through one door at a time, explore it together. No, you go there, you go there. That's how they take you. But in any event, so here we're born into this reality, right? And we grow up, at least we think we're born into it and grow up. That's the backstory. Right now, the only thing that's real is here. And I'm here, as far as being born. So we're born into it. We think it's natural, to be in this place. But it's still that same room except bigger. So the idea is, go see what this room is. Go through every one of those doors. Look around what it is. Find the people you want to live with. Find the people you want to hang out with. And maybe you don't stay in one place long. But this way you'll see what your program is. That's the best way to see what you program for yourself. Because bottom line is, you want to learn. And the best way, and you got to do it, the first year should be alone. Right? You only learn about yourself when you travel alone. Then you will meet somebody at that same frequency when you get to know yourself, and then you can travel together. Until that time, you don't even know yourself. You get these people, they like these, your 6 friends, 7, they got different things to go. Yeah, if everybody had traveled alone for you and you all come together, I think it would be a different, groups, thing kind of thing. But basically that's what I think. You need to explore what this reality is. To know what type of room you're in and stuff. But it's like, to the point where I think it's so obvious it's a simulation. If you look at the way we create things, it's only a matter of time. If you see, and movies give you all the best, everything's channeled. It's all a program. Everything's channeled. What I'm saying to you is channeled, okay?
Right.
So all these directors and writers and actors, they all get this information. You'll see certain actors, like Keanu Reeves in certain movies, and some of these other people, and the directors direct certain movies with the similar actors in it and everything like that. So that's where I look for messages. And there are plenty of messages. Inception, a dream within a dream. Different time frames in each one. The 13th floor is the best one. If you saw the 13th floor, that tells you right where it is. They don't describe the technology, but you see it, and Total Recall, either Schwarzenegger or the Colin Farrell. Basically, new technology came out, you go down to your lunch hour, you get plugged in, you push down, you want to be a secret agent, you want to be this, and you live an entire life in that reality's hour, so to speak.
Right.
And then you wake up, right?
Yeah.
I was telling Vitica today, people back in 2012 thought I was going to jump off the top because I was talking. When I was 68 in 1968, I was 68. No, where am I? In 2012, I was 70. So in 2010, I was 68. And I was saying, listen, I'm not going to stick around if I can't go to the top of Bell Rock. I was putting this in a blog. I said, I'm going to go out on top. I'm not going to be one of these athletes who, when they have their greatest year, they continue, you know what I mean? And then it's all downhill, like Willie Mays and some of those. You know, Peyton Manning goes out after Super Bowl. That's the way I want to go out. You want to go out on top when you're still doing that.
Right.
Or at least until I can't do it, and then do it one more time. Get my friends to help me get up to the top. Get up to the top. I take some pills. They leave. In the morning they call whatever they have to call. Get my body down, burn it, come back with the ashes. That's how I'm going to go. So I was telling Vidika, you know, like, well, 2018, my story's over, and who am I without my story? And, you know, of course, she comes up with, come on, you know. But basically, I have no idea what I'm going to do, you know. I have no idea tomorrow, let alone what's going to be. But that's how my story, overall story, would end. You know, no one's going to push me down the Red Rock Crossing in a wheelchair and then pick me up at night. You know what I mean? Like, here, stay down here for the day. No, I don't see that at all. I'm going to leave because I want to see if I'm right. I want to see if when I, you know, go to the next place, you know, I wake up and I want to see what it is. I'm curious. And how many years do you want to spend here, you know, or at least think you spend here? So
Right.
It's time to go. So I already programmed not only the day I was born, but I programmed the day I died. My story will be over, just a question of when. But of course, you know, I can talk to you about, like, we'll do it in 2018 or whatever it is, but what I program for myself is what's going to count, and that's usually more spectacular. And I would think I would come up with a great ending. Just the way everything is, the way things are coming now, I would think that I would go out with a good ending. I want to come back and be a ghost. I want people to say that I've taken them to the top of Bell Rock and have somebody else say, what are you talking about? He fucking died 3 years ago. No. The guy with the orange hat and the orange shirt? No, he took us down. Come on. He's dead. And then show him, here's the article. Wow, and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. So tomorrow is your 74th birthday.
It is.
And
11. It's an 11.
Yeah. And it is your first 11 since you started the Bell Rock holographic realism.
Yeah, that's definite. Right. Since I'm at this state now in my story, yes, it makes sense that only now would I appreciate the 11. You know, now it's part of my story. In other words, here, it's a 74, so I try to anticipate what my story is.
Yeah.
I don't know really, you know, so in my story I got 74, which is an 11. So in my story, it's the best year I've ever, you know, whether it turns out to be or not. But February was a great month, so I could see it still coming. And look, so I would assume 11 is going to be a great year. But in my story, I got to pass the test first. See, if I was writing this person would have to pass the test, and I would have to come up with this test. So since I'm now living it, well, okay, I got to pass the test. What's a test? Ooh, there's one place on Bell Rock. It's like, whoa, what perfect way, test. You know? In other words, I could pick a test going the way you went or something like that, or going something, but no, Bell Rock. Because I've already gone to the summit, so it's not a question of, okay, let's go to the summit on that day. No, that's too easy. No, you're going to go where your demon is, where you refuse to go for, since I first went up there in 1998. Even though I didn't have, you know, go up there all the time.
Right. But you hate ledges.
Huh?
You hate the ledges.
Edges. I hate edges. You know?
I mean, it is, the first time I went up there, I was terrified.
Yeah, right. So it brings out the fear in you. You know what I mean? And once it does
It is a
that,
test. It is a test.
Yeah, once you do that, then all of a sudden it's gone. Like Paul. He didn't go up last time, right?
Right.
He went up this time. Oh, no problem. I'm sure once I get up there, I don't know if I'll go back again, you know, even though I can take great pictures up there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In other words, at the other end, I would take a picture of a person at the other end, you know, from up on top rather than...
Yeah.
So I can get even a new picture. But so this is the test I have to... It seems too perfect not to do it. Now, of course, you'd say, why'd you come up with a fucking test for your story? But as of now, it seems to be what I programmed for myself. I don't know to the present moment, you know, but it seems that way if I get up there tomorrow that's what I programmed for myself. And I just anticipated. In other words, I was intuitive. I just had a feeling that sometimes you feel what you program for yourself. Sometimes you hit it on the spot,
Right. I mean, I think the first time Nick and I came to Sedona, we found you on Couch Surfers.
Yeah.
I saw your profile on Couch Surfers, and I saw Bell Rock, and I had never climbed anything before, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
And we had to do it. And then you saw how scared I was getting up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
And then
we got the interview.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I'm not like this guy here, but...
Yeah, I was scared the first time.
You had jeans on.
It was jeans. It was just,
Yeah, that was the jeans that was interfering, But there's something. In other words, you go up there the first time, it's only 600 feet. And up the first, getting up there, you're not even on any ledges until you get to the, crevice. So it's not even that. You have to go up in the beginning there a little bit, up that little incline. But, and that terrorizes people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They think they're on this way ledge 5,000 feet above the ground away, and I'm holding their feet and they're terrified.
Right. And that's how I was.
Yeah.
But it's all perception because I'm looking out at the distance, and that's what I'm thinking
Very
of
nice
height.
perception.
Oh, that's the trick that I use now to where I've been going. It's you just pretend you're like, oh, this is a little shaky, okay. But the thing is you see how far up you are. You see how high up you are and how far out everything and how far down the rocks are. But then you just focus on that portion right there and you say, oh,
Yeah, that's what you got. You can't let your mind play games with you. That's the thing. If you let your mind play games, you just... So I was even thinking, okay, because I watched that video and I said, oh, fuck, man. And I have no control of it. All of a sudden I'm fucking anxious just by looking at a video, And it's interesting, and I couldn't talk to video because we didn't have a connection. Okay, so now the only thing that real to me is the present moment, okay? So there's no danger in the present moment. There's no reason for me to feel anxious in the present moment. Now, in thinking back, in memories, you can recall a memory where you made about anxious, and that would create, anxiety. You're remembering when you were anxious before.
Yes.
But the future, when I saw the video, I said, okay, in other words, I'm anxious now about something that hasn't happened, right? I'm anxious about something that's occurring in the future. So, I can see identifying with an emotion that happened in the past, but identifying with an emotion that's going to happen in the future would seem to indicate that these have already happened. In other words, the future is already fixed, which is my belief anyway, in the past. In other words, so you can, otherwise why would you even worry about it? Now, of course, people worry about what's going to happen in the future, but still, there's no real basis to it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should just pretend that I'm the vortex jumper, okay? Which, play the part. The person that's not afraid to go anywhere. In other words, I'm going to go right up. I'm the vortex jumper. I'm in a role like a movie, right? An actor's playing the vortex jump. You see James Bond, what's his name, who played Daniel Craig. You know what I mean? Daniel Craig, I'm sure, has nothing to do with James Bond, right? Probably doesn't even do his own stunts. But he plays that role in that role. He's James Bond. He's doing all these stunts. So that's what I need. I need to play the role of the vortex jumper and then just do it. You know what I mean? Convince myself the vortex jumper has no fear. Peter has fear. But then right away I realized that, no, Peter is the vortex jumper, or the vortex jumper is Peter, and that's part of what this test is about. You know what I mean? That go up there and experience this. The vortex jumper, it was me, experienced this kind of thing. So, and people like when you're not infallible. People like weakness a little bit to show that you're human, that you feel what they feel, that fear that they have, that thing. And that's why, not only to make sure I do it tomorrow and I put it out there, but also to show people, hey, I'm human. You might think I'm this amazing guy that takes people up, but I'm just like you. You know what I mean? I got these fears. And matter of fact, 70% of the group has been up there and I haven't. So now I'm going to do it. That's why I went to the summit, with given the opportunity. I don't pass up opportunities, especially if it involves challenges. So that's why I went to the summit, just to show them that, yeah, I'm going to go to a place, but this is entirely different.
I think it makes sense. You made the comparison to a racing game, a computer game. Just like in any video game, when you get to the end of the level, you have to fight the big boss or something to get to the next level. So going to the crypt on Bell Rock,
it just makes sense.
We'll see what the rewards are.
Right.
It's an 11-year, right?
Yeah.
In other words, if there are rewards, this is the perfect time to do it. It just seems like this is the perfect place in the story to do it. Sure enough, we're going to do it, tomorrow come. I remember when it was, 56 days left, or 65 days, because I used to report it when there was 11 day, like 65 days left, or 56. And then, just shows you the thing. Time is just so illusory. It's, look, tomorrow, less than 24 hours now. So it's like a blink of an eye.
Right.
It's like March 16th already, 74. I had originally wanted to bring up number 1111 on my 74th birthday, because that was an 11. I wanted to be numerically synchronistic, but I went too fast. So I said, what about November 11th? What about, December 21st, the winter solstice, the halfway mark?
Yeah.
And I said, that'd be perfect. 1111, halfway. 3 years from 12 to 15, and then another 3 years from 15 for another 1111 to 18. I was going too fast, so I said, okay, on November 11th, I'm going to bring up number 1111, right? And he would be 11 years old, still going too fast. So I said, oh my goodness, do I have to slow this down? And then I said, fuck it. Don't try to control what you planned.
Right.
Don't try to manipulate it. Let it happen. You take up everybody that wants to go up, and you'll see, and sure enough, the perfect 1111. So I'm sure it'll be perfect tomorrow in one way, maybe a way I don't even know. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? We'll see what I program.
It will be
all
more
program.
spectacular than you could imagine.
Well, at least after I do it will.
Will you explain to me what a meme is?
A meme.
A meme.
I
A
remember
meme.
talking about this last
Meme is an idea that catches on and then spreads through society. Hula hoop, pet rocks. It's known now as going viral. That's the same thing. But before the computer, it was an idea that went through. Whatever it is, you pick up an idea and it spreads. And basically, some people have called it a virus of the mind. And the mind is very sensitive to being infected by a virus. So basically, I call the virus that is corrupting the holographic reality a meme, a memetic virus, because it inserts into the frequencies of the simulation a techno meme and allows that to spread throughout the society where they start to develop technology, right? They're given the ideas now to create these technological products, both for industry and for personal use. And then that's all it has to do, and then it just waits for the simulation to destroy itself. In other words, the carbon-based life form to use the technology to destroy the biosphere and the carbon-based life form by destroying what the carbon-based life form needs to exist and survive, and that's food, water, and air, and rendering it sterile at the same time. Now, the MEM is at the center of the galaxy where basically the frequencies of this particular simulation, say, come from. So it searches, and at the center of the galaxy, there's no time, only in the simulation. Like when you go to a movie, that's time within the movie. You can watch the movie, and you know that the 2 hours you're watching the movie, it's more than 2 hours in the movie, right?
Yes.
In other words, you're watching sometimes weeks, sometimes years even, in 2 hours of our time. Well, it's the same thing. The MEM doesn't care about time. It has endless time, generations, centuries, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's destroyed. And basically that's what we're doing now. Destroying the biosphere with the industrial technology and the side effects, and this personal computers that we use is destroying whatever, humanity.
Connection.
Yeah, the connections that we have. And then we're going to be sterile. One generation is going to wake up and they're not going to be able to reproduce. But by that time, it'll probably be artificial means, and that's what it uses. And it destroys it, and then you have the machines come in, and then eventually the whole planet.
Yeah.
It's a biosphere. It's destroyed. Take a look at Mars. They say Mars was a biosphere. If there was another location for a simulation, I would think within the solar system, Mars seems to be the example of something that was destroyed, that was carbon-based, that was destroyed by a memetic virus.
So it's that human kind of merging with machine into that.
Yeah, that's
reality.
merging, right? Like the Borg, one consciousness and into a machine, and that's where it's headed. The transhumanist movement, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to take your soul and make it immortal. trapping it in this
Yeah.
machine. Imagine being stuck in one movie, watching
Yeah.
come on, after a while it gets a little played out.
You're stuck in this reality.
Yeah, it's like watching a movie, that keeps on going on and on. Well, there's other movies, you know what I mean? There's different themes and everything like that. I would think there's more than one simulation. You want to be a different character in different movies. Why do you want to be the same character no matter what you get? So, in other words, you get wiser and more experience, but you're in a machine also. What's human, even the contact, male, female, that kind of thing. So, you won't have to, have sex to reproduce. You can't reproduce, so they'll just give you this. What was that movie about sex? It wasn't that Woody Allen movie, but there was a later movie about, sex is entirely different now. It's more in the mind, right? You just sit down, put this thing.
With Sylvester Stallone.
Is that it? Yeah.
Were they him and what's her name?
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
They put on helmets.
Oh, yeah,
but he comes from the past, and he
right,
takes
right.
the helmet
He's
off,
like,
and
what
he
the heck
wants
is
to do
going
the
on?
real.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, there's all kinds of different things, but it's all going to be mental. They're plugged into the thing, essentially. But this seems to be like the ultimate life form, at least biological. This is it. You know what I mean? Can't have more perfect can you get. You want to do things faster. You want to like a computer, man. I played that Scrabble game. I don't understand it. Maybe that's why. Because it is an illusion, so of course they can create things, right? I play Scrabble, right? I put in a word, blah, blah, blah. 2 seconds later, this Scrabble, this whatever that's inside that machine has computed every single combination of the letters it has. Every word has come out with the perfect word 2 seconds later. I I'm studying this. Put this word. 2 seconds later.
Right.
Fuck, I can't comprehend that, how that happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And not only that, we developed it, they can't do it in the first place. How do we develop something like we can't even understand? But I guess those people understand how it's doing.
It's like an algorithm.
I guess of course, all that shit.
It's all ones and zeros.
Yeah, right.
All of it.
Right, I know. So it's all, even the simulation may be a little high. So it's all fucking illusion. Yeah. Venica was she's really into channeling aliens now. But so she did DMT like I told you. So now, everybody, even my nephew, he did ayahuasca and he calls me today. So 2 days, DMT and ayahuasca. And they all attach to what this is that they experienced. Like, this is real. Wow, now I know the answers to everything. Everything is more than just this. It's this and that. Oh, fuck. You can just program that, in a simulation. Well, this is the program. We're going to program that but it's only a simulation within it.
Right.
So, but they attach their own stories. Mm-hmm. And that's all this is. What I've been telling you all along is a story. That's it. And during this story, I learned about myself, right? Yeah. And I learned, how to deal with rejection or jealousy or self-confidence and things like that, But you need a story. You can't sit in a corner. And you design the program, how you want to learn. Well, I want to learn through, maybe my relationship, and this and that. And so I don't know how, I can't even comprehend how this holographic reality works program.
But you said one thing we can do is raise our frequency.
Yeah, raise your frequency. That seems pretty, once you learn the rules. First of all, the bottom line is you have to learn about yourself. You learn about yourself, you start liking yourself. If you believe that you programmed your life and the way you look and everything about it, then start accepting yourself. Stop blaming everybody else for what you look like or this or that. This is yours. So, okay, you're playing that part. Play it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Play it. It ends when you die, so you're not stuck in it. So while you're here, play the part that you agreed to play, that you programmed. Once you come down, I don't want to do this. I got a pimple over here, and now he's not going to love me. No, come on, go through it, learn the lesson, But they're not aware, because most of the people are just the cast of the thousands in my story. So I don't know if they exist or not. Who knows about people starving in India?
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's some other story there. All I know is the story that I have by who's in my present moment. So I try to raise my frequency. So you get to know yourself. And you should like yourself. Because until you like yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. And you're not going to anybody else. And everybody says, you got to love yourself, you can't love anybody. I don't know what the word love means. I think it's just overused, too generic. I love you. Everybody says I love you. This romantic love, this sexual love, this family love.
Right.
It's so easy to say I love you and stuff like that on the internet, hearts and everything like that. But unless you're in my present moment, I posted something a couple of weeks ago. You can say as often as you want you love me, but unless you're going to show me, what I mean. Let's be in the present moment, and that. Fuck, I don't. I'm never going to see you again.
The fellowship.
You gotta like yourself. Don't do anything you're not going to like yourself for. Only do things you like yourself for. Don't say anything you're not going to like yourself for. And you can, try to justify it by saying, well, but no, don't say anything you like yourself. And say say nice things to people rather than not say nice things. And then, eliminate judgment. Judgment really fucks you up, Once you do not see any problems out there, then you're doing well. If anything bothers you, that's judgment. So you have to then look within yourself. Because everything's a mirror. Every relationship's a mirror.
Yeah.
Every experience is a mirror. Everything is a mirror. Some are beneficial. I take people to the top. They tell me how great I am. I see myself through their eyes. That doesn't change the way I feel about myself. In other words, they can tell me, 1,000 days in a row I'm the greatest thing in the world. But if I don't think so, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to change how many people tell it to me. But you also see reflections. Anything bothers you, then that's a reflection. And you should thank the mirror. Everybody gets pissed off at the person. No, thank you for being. You don't want to hang out with that person, but if you react to that person, then that's a mirror. You got to understand what it is, and that's how you go through your life, and you don't go through alone. You got the mirrors that you programmed, relationships, like I said, places you go to. If you go to alone, you don't speak the language of the country, you run out of money, you have no transportation, right? You're going to find out exactly what you programmed for yourself and how you react in that situation, right? And that has to challenge yourself, raise your frequency. So eliminate judgment, forgiveness, man. Just don't be pissed off at anybody. It's not worth it. They're your mirror. Thank them for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to deal with them if they're negative, right? I don't care who they are, relative or friend. That's fine. But still. And then other things, hang out with positive people. Be happy. Smile. Hugs. Kisses. Be in beautiful places. Appeal to the senses, right? In other words, look at beautiful things. Look. Everything around. These are all high frequency rocks, man. Hang out with them in the present moment. That's why I moved closest to Bell. I wanted to see it first thing in the morning because the only thing that's real is the present moment. The energy that's creating Bell Rock and the energy that's creating us and all these other rock is all, we just, now it's broken down into matter. But before that, this is just, if we had special glasses, we would see all this frequency and you would have a frequency and I would have it, and it's all like mixing up at the same time. So, listen to beautiful things, right? That's why I go down to Red Rock Crossing. There's nothing more beautiful than the sound of that water, that natural to raise your frequency. And it does. It just tunes you. Good food. Pure food,
Yeah.
Aromatherapy, the smells, So, that kind of thing. So all these things raise your frequency, Doing things you don't like, that aren't nice will lower your frequency, And look, and once you raise your frequency, you're going to attract that frequency. Look at all the people I attract. Look at these great people, right? All just, and you then feed off them and you get higher even and keep on attracting those people. And I can see different people coming at different times, people coming back, things like that. And look, their frequency's raised. Look where you go now. You wouldn't go there. Look at you. Comfortable here. So you can see the experiences, the calmness, the less fear you have as you raise it, But you always get those lessons. It's spiral, but they're not as intense. And the idea is everything's going to not everything, but you're always going to get your buttons pushed, no matter what. It's almost like a defense mechanism. Unless you're maybe really up there, frequency, then nothing bothers you. You can just walk through here and nothing bothers you. And Vedika is close to that. But the thing is how fast you recover, how fast you recognize that it's not the person or the message, right, on the computer screen. It's basically an issue within you. And if you could divorce from, blaming somebody for it and understanding why it pushed your button, and getting back to where it is and become neutral. It's like you don't like the girl that she brought her boyfriend to go to the top of Bell Rock, and I don't know, a year later they're having problems. He's very jealous, you know. And she's very social, and she talks to somebody in a social gathering, he gets a little upset. Now she's at the point where she anticipates he's getting upset and she doesn't do it, or she's always looking and she's not, that kind of shit.
Worst.
Yeah, that's the worst. So they were in Santa Fe for like 4 months, and she didn't have any friends, so there wasn't any threat there. But even within that situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he like segregated her almost. Rather than, it was between Santa Fe and Sedona, where she would have had a lot of friends. So, but he picked Santa Fe because. So he's very insecure, and I said, well, you're attracted to an insecure person. You know, you got to show that you don't want that. You got to then reject that, because until you learn the lesson, you're going to get it in different forms and shapes. It'll be there, you know, sometimes more severe. But you learn the lesson, you realize what it is, and you say, no, I don't want that, and move on, then you'll attract, you know, other things. But you know, you shouldn't even be in a relationship unless you're at a certain level, and otherwise you're just going to attract the person that's going to be your mirror to show you what you still got to work on, which is good, because that's what the initial relationships are. You know, you work, there's benefit, not, but that's how you grow. But people don't really grow. Like, she tries to talk to him about it, but he's in denial of it. You know, no, that's all right. I'm not. You know what I mean? You know, you're not gonna. But it's natural. But instead, and I told her, well, he reacts. Okay, he'll see you talking to somebody, because I know how that feels. Because when Vitica was here, it was difficult. She's very friendly, you know what I mean? And these are young people, you know, and but then I don't act out. I don't project it onto her. In other words, I'll work within myself.
Right.
And I know, you know, it's Vitica's Vitica. That's the way it's going to be. So I better, you know, get used to that. And it's good, because then you can grow in that situation, because you feel more self-confident. And the more self-confident you feel, then you can just, goodbye, I wish you, no matter what you do, you know, be happy. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you're doing with or where. I send you love.
Right.
And that's what she taught me, you know, that I'm just going to send you love. And it's a lot easier to let them. Because if they're not in your present moment, what the fuck you care what they're doing? You really, what do you care?
They might not even be real.
No,
Yeah,
right,
that's true.
exactly. As long as when they're with you, they're there 100% in the present moment. But if their mind is where they were, you know, because I've seen a lot of couch surfers, polyamorous, you know, and she was explaining, yeah, you know, love doesn't diminish once that person is out of your present moment. You know what I mean? Then it never really exists in the first place. In other words, like Vitica said, when we spent the 4 months together, you know, with the interval, she went back to Amsterdam. You know, we were like teenagers, like in love. And then she had to go back to Amsterdam after the second one. And she says, well, you know what? I woke up this morning, I don't love you anymore. I said, okay.
Wow.
I said, okay, you know, I had to deal with it, and I can understand that, you know what I mean? I host a lot of beautiful women, and they sleep here, and I'm pretty open about I flirt with them, and I take pictures of them, you know, so it would be threatening to anybody, you know what I mean? But she decided that, okay, the only way she can handle that is by just being friends with me. All right? So she put herself in a position of being friends, and we stayed in contact every 2 weeks, and I almost didn't, because I didn't want to hear about how she was going on dates, or she was going to go have this great time with these other, you know what I mean? Because that's one of my issues growing up. So
What's that?
Being very jealous of my friends. Like, let's say we were the three friends, right, the whole time, and you two decided to take a trip, and I wasn't going. You know, I would be thinking, oh, these two guys are going to have a good time. They're going to come back and not like me as much. You know what I mean? They're going to like each other more. Oh, yeah, my parents did that. My mother did that. Oh, that's lasted throughout the years. That lasted with Vitica, of course. You know, it lasts with everybody. That's still, now at least I recognize it. And at least, you know, I can say, come on, you know, that's gone. So, you know, but Vitica said, listen, I'm going to love you the same no matter what, right? And she proved that, because when I got cancer, she left this great life, and she came back, and she says, I just want you to know, the love that I have for you is greater than that romantic love that I had. I came back to help you now, you know. It was, I don't know, about 75% true. She also came back for herself, but for different reasons. But, yeah, so, you know, That's it. So she's always going to love me the same. She can get married, she can have kids, but I'm still going to be me with her. In other words, that kind of thing, you know?
Right.
And unfortunately, I think that it's going to be very difficult for her to meet anybody that's going to be like me. Because I think she has even though there was a difference in ages, 35 years, 37 years difference, and thousands of miles, that alone would be a reason, goodbye, Peter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's it. It's not going to work out. Let's say goodbye, like geographically, chronologically. But she still wanted to stay in contact, and we did, and she came back with cancer. But then after she went back to him, she went to India, and then she changed. And now from 2 weeks, we speak to each other maybe once every 2 months. But I always thought she had a fear of intimacy, you know? And of course, while she was here, I didn't pose any threat to that because of the difference in ages, you know, and she lived far away. She could just be whatever she wanted to be, and then when she left, be whatever she wanted to be also. But I think that she enjoyed herself more. In other words, with me, she always used to go out with younger guys, and she never, you know what I mean, fear of intimacy, you don't want to, they never threatened that. And to a certain extent, I didn't threaten it for a short period of time. But she found in me, you know, because I was like great with her, you know. I waited to be 72 in order to appreciate a relationship. Never appreciated one before. Was really mean. I would cheat on. I had no scruples, you know.
Really?
Whether it was my friend's wife, whether it was my 2 female cousins, whether it was like, good thing my wife didn't have a sister. But yeah, I didn't, you know, it didn't matter to
wow,
me.
that's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, forget it. My wife's best friend, you know what I mean? It's like, forget it. So she finally said, that's it. Yeah, both wives actually. So I was really bad. And it wasn't until like I got here and blah, 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 my new theory, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought it was too late. I'm only attracted to young girls, you know? Get along
They
great
are,
with
we
young
are.
girls and bodies, you know? It's all like, whoa, beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, you're over 40 if you get too much baggage and they don't usually take care of themselves. There are exceptions, I'm saying, but those young girls, and I thought that's never going to happen. But then, boop, 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 Vanessa came, and I thought that was it, but that wasn't it, and then Vita came.
And how old was Vanessa?
24.
Wow.
24.
And Vitica?
She's going to be 37, so I guess about 34, 33.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was it. That was my true love. Actually, for that period of time, I was in a sitcom, a romantic comedy with Vita. That's what I tell her all the time.
Yeah.
You're my radiant co-star. She was my co-star in at least 2 reality shows. The first one was when the romantic thing when she came back and was here. Second one was like when I had cancer. That was like a nurse kind of thing we had here.
Right.
And that's the way I look at it. It's like a spin-off.
Yeah.
You know? Now, our contact is like 2 actors, an actor and an actress who appear in certain movies, but they're not in any more movies, but they keep on contacting each other.
Yeah.
Right.
They have a relationship because they're friends. They like each other. Once in a while, they appear in a movie. So we keep on
Such
saying,
a
well,
good
let's see what
analogy.
we program for ourselves. You know, so far we program good stuff other than her being there, but let's see how we did it. But our paths are like going in different directions, it seems. And, you know, she has no real intention of seeing me again, you know, because she doesn't want to, I guess, put herself in any kind of position. Yeah, she says to me, she says, you know what, I envision us having tea when you're 111 years old, right? I said, 111 years old. I said, okay, we're 37 years apart, so you would be what, 70-something? And I said, Vitica, I'm not even interested in 40-year-olds. You think I would be interested in you at 70? And you want to hear something funny? And then after I said that, I decided to look for my girlfriend, my first real heavy-duty girlfriend, 8 years, and I was like crazy about it.
How old were you with that?
29?
29.
No, 32.
Okay.
And she was in her 20s. We worked together. And she was living with a guy. And I was married. But every morning I would leave the house half an hour early, go wait for her to come out in Manhattan where she lived, wait for her, pick her up in the car and drive her to work, and then drive her back. And it was crazy. We used to like fuck in the library in the DA's office. You know? It was like crazy. We really were going at it. And she was the love of my life, except she didn't want a relationship. You know, she didn't want to get She wanted to go to law school. She wanted to be a lawyer, and she moved to Washington. So she was like beautiful. So I decided to look on Facebook for her, right? Found her on Facebook, and I saw her now, and you know what I mean? She looks like an old Jewish lady or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's why I couldn't, that's why I'm not with her, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, call it superficial, call it whatever you want, man, but
Same way, man.
I just am attracted to beauty, and I'll admit it, I just like beautiful women.
Yeah.
And there's
Don't
some
we all?
beautiful guys too also. I just like beauty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hanging out. So it's like, I just don't see it. So I can imagine Vitica. But Vitica, if I had a point maybe other than my family, so to speak, Vitica, if I went out with a girl and she had anything wrong with her, like heavy or some kind of mark or something, I would like get turned off. That's how superficial it was, right? And if you have a girlfriend and they gain weight, you know what I mean? Like, wow, you know what? And that's, Vitica is the only person I probably would love and want to be with no matter what she looked like. Because I was able to reach her soul, you know what I mean? In other words, that's what I fell in love with, her soul. So I don't care what happened. In other words, if she needed somebody to wheel her around, you know what I mean? Well, of course she came and helped me with the cancer, the radiation, and she found that organic food formula, which, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably, not be doing what I'm doing as easily now, and maybe not at all. But that's the way it was programmed, that she would come and find that organic, and then the healing of my neck. So she really, I owe her. So there was nothing, and I keep on telling her that. And she just downplays it all the time because she knows I'm still in love with her, and I tell her all the time, and but she still stays aloof. She doesn't try to
How many years ago was this?
She came in 2013 in October, stayed for a month, went back for 7 weeks to Amsterdam, came back for 5 weeks, left in January 2014, came back in October 2014 when I had radiation.
Wow.
I haven't seen her since January. No, I saw her since she left in December of 2014.
Wow.
I haven't seen her since then.
Do you think we only meet in this? Do you think we only meet? Because I felt the same way. It's like, and something I definitely got from you last year. It's like a lot of people get really hung up on, I got to find the one person. I got to do ever after. It's like they get hung up on it.
Yeah.
When you realize it's just your life is just you get a romantic sitcom here, then that might end. Then you get another one. Then you might get another one, and it continues on throughout your life. And these people who just get stuck. Some people are with someone for 40 or 50 years. Other people you're with them for like 5, 6 years, whatever, 2 years. There's no time limit on it. Once you kind of get rid of that whole fear of I've got to find someone, I'm going to be old and alone and die. It's that once you let go of that, you're free. Like that's something I definitely, me and Dambo talked about. That we got that from you. It's like you're just living life to the fullest.
I mean, I worked at 2 nursing homes and a memory care facility where they were completely dementia. And they weren't much. They were, there were some people younger than you were. And then I meet you, and you're like our age, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just one of our. And then that's when you talk about raising your frequency through beautiful things. It sounds like maybe.
It's also like he's broken this code of the reality, like he's seen through it all and just accepted and consented to everything that falls upon you.
It's I believe I programmed my life, so I'm what I programmed. I don't think it's any special other than this is what I programmed. You program yours, you can, maybe in the next life you can program whatever you want,
Right.
I think this whole thing is taken on, now that I can look back in retrospect, from the UFO days and everything. This whole thing with the club seems a little beyond me. In other words, it's almost like something that will be around after me. But it's not just the club itself and not just couch surfing. It's almost like talking to people and sharing my belief system about what type of reality and that we take responsibility because we programmed this, that there will come a day, like I said, and I told Vitica that this will be what people realize, that they're in a simulation, but okay, as long as it's not corrupted by a mimetic virus, then let's enjoy it and enjoy it. Like you enjoy a game. You don't get pissed off because you're playing a game and you lose, right?
Yeah.
Or you say, oh, it's fucking game. No, okay, this is another kind of reality. You know you're here now, maybe. So it takes a different level. You know, you just allow it to unfold and stuff like that, and just see what it is. But anyway, just what you mentioned, it's funny, because I only speak to my son for different reasons, but he called me like a month ago. And out of the blue, just called, and he says, hey, how you doing? And he's been married 3 months. This is his wedding in August, right? I said, how you doing? He says, well, I think I messed up a little bit. I said, what? He says, well, you only been married 3 weeks. Now, he knew her for at least 6 months beforehand. Like, he would spend maybe every other weekend or go down there. One lived in Boca and one lives, in West Palm. But he had his own place after he divorced his wife. He was alone, and he woke up in the morning, did what he wanted, and blah, blah, blah. And he had this, girlfriend who he then married. So now he's living with her. They built a house and they're living together. And he says, I really miss my apartment. I really miss getting up on a Saturday morning because she has a 6-year-old kid, and being able to go to the gym or going to hear a movie, and now I have to take a kid somewhere or the wife. I said, well, we talked a little. I said, it's an acclimation period. Relax, just go into it. And then he was finding faults with his wife. She wasn't like his first wife. I said, relax. And then, he's not too swift. He says, tells his wife, I wish I didn't give up my apartment. And you don't say that to somebody you just married, because they're going to start getting turned off.
Yeah.
And if they get turned off, they never get turned back on.
Yeah.
If they lose that spark for whatever reason, thinking that you are not happy, and
their resentment piles up.
yeah, and now you're living with that person, and they're there all the time. It's not like the freedom you have. I said, well, you built a big enough house, have separate bedrooms, or go somewhere. You got to compromise, So we talked a little bit, but the reason that he got married, he told me, is that he was scared that he would grow old alone. That's the fear, right? And he didn't want to do that because he's an oncologist. He says all the people, his doctors that work in the office, his big practice, or of course the patients with cancer, but all the other people he said he sees over 70 are all unhappy and are all not happy with their lives. You know what I mean? And he says, you're the only person that enjoying life, that's happy with their life, that have this great life. And I said, well, why don't you take consolation? Is that because I'm your dad and you got the same genes as me? So look at it like, wow, the best is yet to come. But he never liked being alone. He really is not that social, kind of thing. Doctors, for some reason, just don't, Usually his wife, the first wife, was the social one, plan everything. Now this other one could sit home and just read a book or watch a movie, and it's not that kind of thing. He now, all of a sudden, he wants the social wife, whereas before he was that. So it's like what you have, you never want, and you want something better. You just let it unfold. But he'll acclimate. It's only 3 months, and he'll get used to it. Even he might not want it, but he'll get used to doing the Saturday morning, and he'll forget about how it was before. Unless he won't. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not supposed to be with her. Except the fucking guy now is paying off 2 wives, and she has a kid, he has a kid, you know what I mean? He's just, and 2 houses, he's paying off, so he's in debt. He can't, change if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So he should have an ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
He would blow out, But that's it. People are just scared, scared of being, so, and I guess to a certain way, that, it would be difficult if I didn't have couch surfing or if this whole thing, but I wouldn't have programmed that for myself. Yeah. In other words, after a while, you start thinking, well, this is kind of interesting now. Look what's going on here. You got all these people and these beautiful women. You got this whole club, 2000, you got the story. So maybe there's something more to it, maybe, so if I had to think about the reason I'm here, it's probably like to spread the word that this is a simulation. You planned your life, so deal with it. Because after a while, science will prove that. Because more and more quantum physicists are saying now it's a simulation.
Yeah.
They just won't go near the virus concept, but it's a simulation.
Right.
But they don't go any further. Okay, if it's a simulation, wouldn't it be intelligently designed? Okay, so it's a question of who programmed it.
Right.
Did each of us program it, or did some god or cosmic computer program it, and we pushed the button?
Right.
But also, they got to accept that once you push the button and download into the fetus, right? Like in the avatar, you consented to everything that's going to happen to you. You might allow the computer to program what you're going to have for dinner or this and that, but you consented to it.
Right.
You know, so you take responsibility. It's like the small print.
That's where you take
I didn't know that you can reclaim the car after 30, well, read the small print.
Yeah.
You know, when you signed your name on that contract, you consented to that. You didn't read it. So when you push that button, so to speak, to download, you consented to everything that's going to happen to you. Vita decides she's not, doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Okay, that's what I agreed to. It's a lot easier to accept things when you believe that you already consented to it. Now, it's not that easy to accept that. It's still, you're going to feel it, but it's a lot easier to recover from it and say, okay, then let's see where it's going to go. I might not like it, but it's going to take me to a place that I'm supposed to be.
I think it's going to make living an epic life a lot easier if you realize that you're just in a simulation and that as soon as it ends,
that's right,
you just start over again, just like a video game.
That's another thing. Until you know what the 2 Ds are, then I don't want to hear any story that tells me, oh, no, this is the truth. Well, what's death? Well, I read books about near-death experiences, and they went to a light, and they went to this other, I don't know what that is.
We don't know till we're
you
on
weren't
these
dead.
Carbon-based bodies.
Yeah, who knows what that was? Some chemical? It's a program. You got frequencies coming in. You can adjust the frequencies to get you to believe anything you want in the program. You know what I mean? You can have miracles in a simulation. You can have Santa Claus come in and reindeers if you want to program that, but everything is orchestrated, choreographed, and nothing too strange, other than maybe the paranormal and all this other kind of things that everybody ignores, that basically tells you, wait a second, what is this, We should be alerted, like any unusual things.
Do you think that is what the UFO phenomenon is?
I think it's part of it. I would think that if you're going to study, if you're going to program a simulation like SimCity, like you go on there and you program that, and then you come back and you program some more, an easy way to come within the simulation and study it and not alarm the characters in the simulation is come in under some disguise. And the perfect disguise usually is consistent with what the simulation is about. And this is like a science fiction simulation. Mm-hmm. So why not come in as aliens and from other planets, You will conform to your science fiction, even though to think that our 130-year-old science fiction and what goes on and out there is anywhere close to what, even if you believe the backstory that, yes, there's billions of things out there and they're billions of years old. Every simulation has a backstory at any given time. So even if you believe that, what were we talking about now? What'd you say?
What are the UFOs?
Oh, okay. Then I would think they would come in under that. They would disguise this way. No one would even think about that. Oh, these are aliens from other planets just visiting us, and they could study us as long as we are.
Right.
And some of the abductions, they actually physically studied us. Right? That's what the abduction's about. And they came in and gave us false information, like, whatever, blonde hair, blue eyes. And it's also, if this is a sociological study type of simulation, at least for part of, the population, then of course you're going to insert something and then you come down and you study it. I'd sooner think, I don't believe in time travel, and I don't believe in past and future, but I'd sooner believe in time travelers than I would in aliens.
Okay. So the UFOs may be the programmers in disguise coming to work on the inside the program.
Yeah, or another form of intelligence within the simulation with us.
Okay.
That can take different forms. Like a trickster kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, there it is, guys. Peter Allen Gersten. I hope you enjoyed the interview. And I would just like to thank Peter for doing the interview. And I would also like to thank Nick and Ken for helping me put this together, giving me their input, and really just making it happen. It really was like old times. So if any of you guys are interested in doing the Sedona Bell Rock thing, get a hold of me. You can find me at ddon.life. ddon.lifepodcast@gmail.com and send me a message and we'll get you in touch. And then I would also appreciate it if you went to www.ddon.life and go to the store and pick up a Meat clothing shirt while they still exist, because you never know.